Hello, Barbara. Don't be afraid.
What happened? How are you even...
It's a long story.
I found you on the ground, you were electrified. I took you to the Lazarus pit to get revived. But then I decided to give you the power of the demon's head. Then I was dead. So you screwed it up instead. And now I'm back to take command. I just walked in to find you here with that glowing hand. I should have chosen Bruce Wayne. I should have known that you'd succeed. If I'd have known for just 1 second that you don't know how to lead. Go on now, go. Give back my hand. Just give it up now. Or I'll stab Tabby Gallivant. Your only accomplishment was making your parents die. I've done so much more. And there's so much left to try. Oh, it is I was revived. Give me back the hand if you want Tabitha to stay alive. I have a second life to live, so the hand is what she'll give. I was revived. I was revived. Hey, hey.
Hello, and you are listening to the Gotham Chronicle podcast powered by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out the Batman Universe for this and other great Batman podcasts. I'm Josh, and joining me is...
This is Donovan.
Are you so upset you forgot your name?
I don't know if
This is Jan.
I don't know if it was Angry Smurf or Grumpy Smurf.
Well, the last episode, we all, switched names at the very end. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah,
It, ends. Don's like, this is Josh, and I'm like, this is Jan, and Jan's like, and this is Don. So we all got our bodies back thanks to a procedure from Hugo Strange, because I guess watching this episode was like an out-of-body experience for some people.
Yeah.
This episode is called To Our Deaths and Beyond. Let's see. So Lee and Nigma are robbing banks, but Lee's, kind of keeping Nigma in check, making sure that, he's not killing people during these robberies. Grundy and Penguin want a bit of the action, but Riddler, shows them, no, you don't cross me and my girl, and, sets a trap for them. And Grundy this episode is dressed like a kid from Oliver Twist. I kind of like his new look, now that he's Butch again. Gordon goes to investigate, and, and Lee gives him some social justice warrior PC crap, which infects Gordon. So when they're, when Bullock and Gordon are questioning the person from the bank, Gordon is wearing, a fedora and hipster glasses and a scarf. Psh, everyone knows that bankers are the real enemy, you 1%ers. And Bullock's like, okay, you realize that you're a cop. You're part of the system. You're part of the establishment. You can't pull this anti-establishment crap. And then
pull your tie up and sit up straight.
Yeah. So Gordon gets off of Twitter, long enough to and BuzzFeed. Who's called? Gordon gets off
Tumblr.
Gordon gets off of Twitter and Tumblr and BuzzFeed long enough to actually try and solve this case, and winds up arresting his ex-fiancée, which, surprisingly, I can say this is the second time in the series that he's had to arrest an ex-fiancée. So, your rights. You have to actually say them, though. If she gets a lawyer, she can get that whole thing thrown out in court because she was not read her Miranda rights, Worked as... And that was it. That was the only plot in the show. Nothing else happened at all. That was the entire episode. What did you guys think?
Yep. It was a good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it the second time, and I actually enjoyed the Riddler and Lee plot more than I did the first time when I watched it for this review. I must have blacked out because there was a lot of characters missing, and I seem to remember my temperature rising when I watched it the first time. But I don't know. I guess nothing happened.
Very, very short.
It was really
too.
short.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I mean, there is a bunch of deleted scenes that somehow wound up in the air version.
they found sense and knew to cut them out because no one would stand for it.
So Selena and Bruce, wind up, Selena takes Bruce to Tabitha, and Bruce is like, I don't know. Last time her and I were together, I was kidnapped by this crazy death cult that tried to do this sacrifice with my blood. And Selena's like, kid, I swear that's not going to happen again. So they go into this warehouse, and holy crap, it's a death cult that's trying to do a sacrifice with Bruce's blood. You promised.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Like, I was wondering, like, I know that wasn't really addressed, but like, that's the second time that's happened with Tabitha and Bruce. And like, Bruce should really like not be cool about Tabitha based on all that like Order of Saint Dumas crap.
Where's Silver St. Cloud? I know she's behind this.
Her and her prepubescent cleavage. Oh.
I mean, that was 2 years ago. Maybe she looks just like Cameron Beacondova does now. She might. What do you mean prepubescent? She could be 18 by now. I don't know how old she is.
Who cares how old she is now? Before she was legal, they put her in that silver dress and shoved her boobs up.
Let's run away from this plotline and get back to being mad.
Well, but who cares about Silver St. Cloud when Bruce's blood somehow makes a zombie version of Ra's al Ghul?
No.
Right.
Not gonna lie, that was like that was my favorite part of the entire plot. I was like, he looks ridiculous. After Scarecrow and the Joker gas and so many things, including ridiculous Clayface. This is what they come up with for Ra's al Ghul.
Milkshake face.
Yes, milkshake face. This is what they come up with Ra's al Ghul. He just looks like somebody put like a plastic jaw on the bottom of his face under the hood. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, guys, okay.
I didn't watch. I did not rewatch the episode where Bruce stabbed him. But did he like deteriorate into dust? Because I kind of remembered him like crumbling the dust.
No, he just withered.
Okay.
I remember
Husk.
I remember Dust too, but like I didn't rewatch it either because I don't think they showed that. I don't think they showed that in like the previously on segment.
Because that would have been a little inconvenient.
It would have been. It's true. But I thought he just turned into a husk. I didn't know he. Wait, but if he did dust, that would explain why I was so adamant about him never coming back.
I genuinely don't remember.
Because remember, I was like, I hope he never comes back. So you're wrong, John.
And look what they did to your hopes.
I know. No.
So he's like, now that the last thing I remember was before I died, I left the League of Shadows to Barbara Keene. So what happened while I died? Barbara Keene has the League of Shadows. What? Preposterous. I must talk to her about this right now. Who's responsible for this? You were. I'll deal with you later. So he goes to tell Barbara Keene that actually, instead of wanting to be dead, he wants the magic hand back because she's not using it properly, which coincidentally, like, her, like, little minions are, like, realizing, wait a second, like, at the beginning of the episode, they, like, try and attack her, and they win, and they're like, wow, you actually kind of suck. She's like, because you snuck up on me, that was no fair, we got to do a redo. And then, so it's not a good day for her, so he wants the magic hand back, and, because apparently she doesn't know how to unlock its true potential of seeing into the future. Because I guess, you know, if I would have known that in season 3 of Gotham, Barbara would become an Oracle, I would have thought something else entirely. But the wrong Barbara became the wrong kind of Oracle. Yeah. So she and Ra's fight. She unlocks the future seeing power. And we get 2 fake out deaths, and she decides, you know, like Anna and Elsa in Frozen, that like she will choose true love and sisterhood over power. So she lets Ra's have the magic hand back, which turns him back into Alexander Siddiq,
which is lovely because I love looking at him.
Yeah, and not the previous actor who was playing him throughout most of this episode.
You don't think that was Siddiq? Like,
I'm pretty positive that wasn't him. It just didn't sound like him. Like, even
because it was a voice like modulator or something.
Yeah, I thought he was supposed to be like more monstery in that form.
I like compare the voices. I like rewound like from like, you know, the hooded guy to like Alexander Siddiq. I'm pretty sure they're the same. They're different voices.
I mean, you could edit voices. Like, it's. I'm going to tell you something shocking, but like, remember that like I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus parody? That was me doing Martine's voice, you know, with like a voice editor.
What's this between an effect and like
sorcery?
Different voice.
Yeah, so like it was an effect. Like, it's, I don't know, it's whatever. It's not important whether that was him or.
That's not what made me mad.
Yeah, exactly. So So, all's well that ends well. Bruce and Selena had some saltiness throughout the episode because she chose the sirens over him, but she's like, actually, I wanted you to remain poor. Now let's lean in for the kiss before Flotsam and Jetsam knock this boat over. And Roz, like, runs into the room, cock block! I just came.
I was so mad. I was so mad.
Oh, Jordan Valdez from who's like wrote in a few times on like Twitter and stuff. Like he was mad on Facebook. He's like, "Damn it! I was waiting for that kiss, and Roz had to come ruin it. Now I really hate him." And he's like,
"He's the true villain of the show."
I just came to say that there will be a cataclysmic event that will give you a legacy of contagion on this nightfall of a no man's land. Officer down, 10 Knights of the Beast, under the hood, year 1, year 2, year 3 prodigal.
Plus 0 year.
Yeah.
To be continued.
He also said Dark Knight, which means the Dark Knight returns, lols.
I will turn you from the fire. You will rise as a dark knight. I was like, really, guys?
Yeah, that doesn't help you.
And you, Selena, you will be a man of steel. What?
Wait, wrong movie.
A wondrous woman who will throw you for a loop.
I think I'm going to go first because I have a feeling that Don and Jan are going to have a lot more to say about this.
I don't know. I just do velociraptor noises during certain sections.
So I want you to explain how you can be so even tempered about this.
You got to remember, he does love Barbara.
I do.
Unreasonably, just forgives all the stupid stuff that they write about her because of his research project.
But he's not the Scarecrow from the Wizard of Oz. He has a brain. He can only admire her so far.
Well, I said unreasonably.
I didn't say that I love this episode, but I'm not as mad about it as you are. But I see all the things that you guys are going to say that you're mad about, and I think that I'm going to wind up agreeing with 85 to 90% of them. I'm just not as This episode was kind of like a clearing of the decks plot. Okay, we're gonna we're gonna wrap up a few things before we do the final 3 episodes and this whole Jeremiah, no man's land thing. I don't like the League of Shadows stuff. I knew. I remember texting Dom when I was watching this saying Jan is not going to like the ending because I know that Jan hasn't liked the whole League of Shadows being subservient to Barbara thing, and then at the end they choose her over Roz. You fought for us. That's no, she kind of fought for herself, but whatever.
She also fought for Tabitha, and she doesn't give a shit about you ladies. You guys have been trying to kill her.
That is one of the pros of this. Okay, yeah, I'm going to give a pro to this plot line is that I liked. By the end of the episode, I was able to buy that Barbara and Tabitha were friends again because this season, there's been tension between them because of the stuff that happened last year. But by the end, I felt that okay, when she chooses to save Tabitha, I thought that was a nice moment. I thought it was earned. What I'm hoping is that this represents a change in direction for Barbara Keene. I don't think it will, based on a few things that I know and that I've heard and based on the show's track record, but I would hope that this is a change in direction for her. But I liked her choosing Tabitha. I don't like these Oracle powers. I thought that I don't like doing 2 fake out deaths in a row within the span of a minute because it takes kind of the punch out of it. You're going to lead the whole episode up to Barbara unlocking these powers only for her to get rid of them right away. There's other points, but I think that it's just going to be more or less the same stuff that Don and Jan say. So I'll let them go. I want Jan to go first because I feel like Don has the most violent reaction.
Excuse you.
It'll be a competition.
Oh. Excuse you. No, I literally almost turned the episode
my nuggets.
off. Hold my Chick-fil-A nuggets. No, I had the most extreme violent reaction at seeing Tabitha's throat slit. That was the only thing that kept me from actually changing it back or turning it off and throwing my entire computer out the window was the fact that, one, my computer is heavy, and two, I was sitting there so livid that I just was frozen until, like, you saw that it was a flashback, or like a flash forward, rather. And it's not that I forgot, it's just that the way that they shot it, it was just like, because they had one flash forward, and then they didn't even, like, they don't, what is it, cue you in that there's another one coming, and then they just go straight into it. And I was like, okay, so this decision that she just made led to this event happening, because it's usually how things go.
It's a telltale game.
Yeah, exactly. And then I saw that it was like a vision, and then on the one hand, I'm like, yeah, you give that hand back. And then on the other, I'm like, this whole plot was a waste of my time. This is the biggest filler plot I've ever seen. And I had to sit and watch these brown ladies be super subservient to the most blondest blonde white woman I've ever seen. And then it ended with them also still staying that way. It's like, you fought for your friend. And I'm like, did you guys want to be her friend? Because you guys have been just basically treating her like a bitch this entire time. Because they're like,
deserved.
Yeah, but still, it's like, oh, we're here to serve you, but it mostly felt like you need to serve us. In the tone, like that woman was like super condescending. She wasn't like teaching; she was just judgy the entire time. It's like you killed a whole bunch of men for this woman without knowing anything about her. Are you kidding?
But her
me?
hand glows in the dark.
Yeah. Whatever. It was dumb. So dumb. Everything was dumb. Oh, I do like the part where he's like, haha, you thought that's a queen, that's a whore.
That reminded me of The Last Jedi. The whole, oh, Barbara, that woman in the painting, she was a junker. She sold Rey, on Jakku for beer money.
For alien milk money.
Which, I do know that Erin Richards posted a picture of herself dressed as that woman, so I don't, either that was a deleted scene or like something's going to happen in a future episode that like we haven't seen yet for whatever reason. So I don't know, either they're going to revisit that or what I saw was a deleted scene.
I don't know. This is one of those storylines where you just kind of have to sit back and see. Honestly, anything involving Barbara Keene, you just have to kind of sit back and suffer through it until it's done. Because,
but it's a
God,
continuing
at least
storyline. It's not done yet.
Yeah, her storylines never have a point. Like, they don't have a beginning or an end. Like, I thought when she got shot in the head, that was the end. Nope, it was just like, this is just a pit stop to, like, the next chapter of whatever. She never feels like she has a place, and which makes sense because, and the writers totally picked up on that. She's like, I have a purpose now. I know my destiny, and it's all like, sure, buddy.
She's not a Jedi, like, destiny, like, like,
Yeah.
How many times in real life do people like walk around like saying like like what is my destiny, like I know people wonder what their place is in life, but
People
like
in origin story comic book television shows.
Yeah,
They do it in Smallville a lot.
John Schneider like visits Barbara Keene like, you have a destiny, Barbara, like and one day you'll fulfill it.
Lex Luthor said that all the time.
Lex Luthor talked about Alexander the Great all the time as he poured scotch.
But yeah, that's like the character still doesn't have a place in the show. Like, if they had just kept her as a nightclub owner, we'd just be like, well, at least it's a place that we know that they go to because all these other people go there, and then she might have information because of all the traffic that goes through there. Like, if she was used more like an informant or something.
Which is what Jim was doing with her like this season. It's like, I'm gonna go ask Barbara about her.
Yeah. About the Goblet of Fire? What?
He would say that in his drunken sleep.
Yeah, it was. I'm going to ask Barbara about this, and then I just like made him get all like slurrier and angrier and homelesser.
Older.
Well,
But yeah,
honestly, like
so
she's Fish Mooney basically at this point. Like, except
she could be Fish Mooney. Fish Mooney had more direction. She made more sense.
that Cohen is a weak old man.
Exactly.
It's more entertaining.
Like,
Oh my gosh, she is Fish, and her nightclub is Fish's nightclub, and Tabitha is Butch.
If Fish Mooney was involved with like Rachel Gould and the League of Assassins, Shadows, whatever, like I would buy that because the actress is much more famous. So you can imagine giving the famous actress a better plot. Like even if
she'd also have more agency because she's smarter than Barbara.
Yeah, she's a lot more wily.
Yeah, she would challenge. She would challenge him. And I feel like they would have had a really good rapport. Like, he would be annoyed at times and try to put her in her place. And then he would realize, though, that he can't put her in a place. He would just be, like, holding her down a little bit. But she would continuously challenge him because she's ambitious. That one time, I actually defend Fish Mooney. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, like I'm accessing Bertoni memory banks, and like I can't think of a time that they've ever been in the same scene.
No, because that whole shootout, Barbara wasn't crazy yet. I don't think. No, she was crazy, but not like she was in.
She was hanging out with Lee.
Yeah, and trying to kill her, right?
What she should have finished the job. Jesus, like look at this season. Should have finished the job, Barbara.
I would go the other way.
They kill each other. Like Bullock, Falcone, and Gordon like head up to the apartment, and he sees like two dead women on the floor.
My favorite part of this whole commentary is you want both the women to murder each other. But yeah, so I really, my God, I wish they would figure out what to actually do with her. She just still feels like she's flapping in the wind. Guys, it's 4 seasons in. I thought, like, at the beginning, she sounded like she had a solid goal, and then maybe she was being used as a tool by Rachel Gould. Didn't make sense that he wanted her, but I guess they're going to explain it in the next 3 episodes if you had that whole screenshot of her in that outfit. But,
unless that was a deleted scene, because that was months ago. Like, they would have already filmed that episode. I don't know.
But still, unless they show me something, like when she was his pawn, that made a lot of sense. With not to me that he had her, but like she seems like pawn material. But they took her out from under that and gave her like more power. Again, I don't understand why they keep giving her more power. The character still doesn't make any sense. I mean, I'm not even thinking about it as like, oh, in the comic book she had no part. I mean, like in the show, the character, you could remove her completely and the show would still be fine.
Just the part of me that wants canon restored, that like, I'm looking at that Marty McFly picture and I see like Batgirl and like her brothers are fading away. I would like them to figure out a way that's not complete bullshit for like luck. Her and I know, like at this, like they're so far apart, but like I feel like I don't know, like if it would have happened the end of season 2 after she got out of Arkham, where she was a little more morally ambiguous, because I was even thinking about it, even though she was like helping Penguin like put a disembodied head on like a mantle.
But Josh, she's not Barbara Gordon's only mother.
She's not, but like, again,
you don't need her for continuity.
It's that part of my brain, that itch that needs to be scratched, that Back to the Future photo. But even in the season 2 finale, even though she was kind of evil there, she like, I remember she went to the GCPD to like warn Gordon about something that Strange was doing, and she was the one that unmasked Clayface. So like,
But I don't understand why you were like so focused on her specifically being the mom when she's not even specifically the only mother of Barbara Gordon in the comics.
I've suggested many times that they go to niece route, but again, still for continuity purposes, like
it's also she's in Batman Year One, which makes her she's in a pretty notable story even as a minor character. So she's more. I think Barbara Gordon as Gordon's wife, even as minor as she is in the comics, is more well known than Thelma Gordon from pre-crisis or post-crisis, I guess.
Well, but but you see how they've already treated a lot of the people in this show.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen.
Yeah,
like Ra's al Ghul.
Even if she's not Batgirl's mother, even if they go the niece route, there is that part of me that like kind of wants them to get back together, even though it just makes less and less sense. But I mean, what I would want them to do is move her in a more morally ambiguous position where like she is like this like informant that like doesn't necessarily like try and like destroy Gotham or take over the city.
I think we'd need about 2 to 3 more seasons before you'd get there.
Yeah, or like I suggested that one time, like just do a time skip at the end of the series and like don't say who Gordon's who the mother of Gordon's kids is, but like show that Gordon has kids and do a Fairly Odd Parents. The problem with the
time skip is Tavi.
Well, no, in the final episode, I would say.
Oh, okay.
I think it did like they did at the last Harry Potter film and kind of like put old age makeup on them or on him.
Yeah. In the final earbsode, you see Gordon's kids and you do a Fairly Odd Parents time skip thing where you don't know who the mom is of them.
Barbara Gordon has like buck teeth.
She's drawn by Butch Hartman
with a sharp chin.
I don't get this reference, but okay.
Oh, there was a flash forward in like Fairly Odd Parents. And,
yeah, like, I've never watched it though, so I have no context. So,
but the listeners might.
Okay.
Gordon was a homeless cop who no one understands.
I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna stop you right there. Jan, do you have anything for your opening thoughts?
I thought we were just talking about that one plot line.
I got a lot of say.
Well, we're kind of doing a little bit of both.
Sure
because if we're going opening thoughts, I really enjoyed. I don't remember what I enjoyed because that just totally burned everything about the episode. What else happened in this episode? Oh, right. Okay.
Gordon went full social justice warrior.
Lee and Riddler, I don't... Yes. The Riddler is still good, but I don't know what's going on with Lee. Lee's making me want to slam my face into things. I don't know what she was wearing, but it was like ugly, and it was just distracting. I was like, why are you wearing this?
Wasn't it last episode?
Like the weird fur thing that she was wearing?
Like a Michael Jackson-esque jacket?
No, it wasn't a Michael Jackson-esque jacket. It looked like she was... You know those things that Southern Belles wear? The hoops. It looked like she was wearing a hoop jacket.
I know of which Jan speaks of, like, because I've rewound that scene a few times where she gets arrested, and yeah.
Yeah, and she's just... It's... Where the wires for the hoops would be, it was like there was a line of fur, and then everything else was like mesh, and it just kind of like made a circle bell around her body, and I was like, why would you even wear this during a bank heist?
Yeah, with no mask.
You never know when you're going to be photographed by the front page news. She had to look good.
Why would you get
good for her mugshot?
That was a fashion disaster.
Okay, Cheryl Blossom.
That is the best compliment you could give me. Cheryl Blossom is a queen.
She is pretty cool. Well, I've not liked...
I got to catch up on that show.
I've not liked her kind of like high fashion sense this season because the idea is that like she's kind of in the slums where she's kind of down on her luck. And even if she's Robin Banks and making a lot of money, it just to me feels very odd that like they're trying to give Lee a sense of personality that feels... I don't know if this character, as they've been written, kind of has demonstrated that she'll dress to the nines when she's Robin Banks or like, watching road cheating fights or something like that.
To the fives, because that was definitely like a 2.
What do I look like to you? The Simon Cowell of fashion? I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just saying that like it's always felt like a disjointed juxtaposition between her position in the show and Marina Baccarin's fashion, or not, or I should say like the dress that they give her, like the what's the phrase I'm looking for? It's like just like how the production of the show gives
The wardrobe.
the wardrobe. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Like how the wardrobe is given to the character never feels. Because at least we're just wearing the same thing. Oswald's wearing the same thing because they're cartoon characters. But like Lee's always wearing
Amazing.
crazy like suits, and like I wouldn't mind that if she weren't like in the most poorest place in Gotham, and has been for months. It's like I don't. Maybe she has money saved up, but like I don't know. It feels like she's dressed.
She probably got some money when Mario died.
Yeah, they were married.
That is probably true. If her
But
ex-boyfriend
she didn't
was-
take the money and then put it into the slums. She decided to rob banks instead.
She spent all the money on clothes, and then like realized there was nothing left for the Narrows.
Well, I mean, at least I mean, Karen Mikandova dresses really nice too. But at least it's along the idea of kind of a jacket and like black pants. So it's like a general. You can
Yeah,
see,
but she steals her clothes too.
And
what I'm
she's kind of moved up in the world
What I'm
this
trying to say is that
season.
you can see Selena's personality in the clothes that she wears.
Yeah.
I feel, and you will probably disagree, but I feel that like with Lee, every single episode it's like from one thing to another, and I'm like I feel that they're just throwing clothes at her for whatever reason because it doesn't seem like something
The
she would wear in
clothes
that
doesn't make
situation.
sense in general. I'm not even just talking about like how they dress her. I mean the clothes itself, the clothes that they choose makes no sense.
Yeah, exactly. Because like when Gordon was a bounty hunter, he wasn't dressing like in fancy latest fashion wear clothes or something like that.
That's not fashion.
Okay,
clothes.
but the
That's a
difference
nightmare.
is Gordon is a guy and Lee's a girl. There's a double standard, like for how girls and guys have to dress on TV.
But here's the thing though. Look at even Barbara's clothes makes more sense than Lee's, and that's a problem. Because Barbara doesn't make sense on this show. Period.
Well, I mean, like Gordon always has like the finest of like the Corinthian leather suits and ties and stuff, even though he's a poor ass homeless cop.
Those are leather suits.
Or what? If you see like the promotional material, he's wearing much finer clothes than he actually does in the show. Like, it's like they can't. I think Bullock's the only person who actually dresses like a normal person. They can't. Like,
That's why Gordon's
Regulate
homeless.
the
He
shit.
spends all his money on on clothes. It's like
Fancy wares.
Bleeding Gums Murphy, Fabergé egg
I thought about that
addiction.
too,
Yeah, it's like he's like, I want another Armani suit. I think you've had enough, Gordon. I'll tell you when I've had.
I know. Yeah, he dresses awfully nice.
He's like passed out in an alley with like a pile of suits over him.
Throwing him against
Wow.
the volleyball.
I have a problem, Bullock.
You have a name one, Gordon. But I actually, well, she was talking, so go ahead.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the jacket is. I was so upset. She walked outside, and I was like, "Oh God, I'm getting a full look at it now. I don't need that." Penguin and Butch should have seen it coming. I was
Betrayed.
like, "Oh, Penguin again? Really? Poor baby." Who else was there? There's another storyline.
Bruce.
No, I mean, there's kind of a subplot within the Barbara storyline of like Bruce and Selena's relationship.
Yeah, and then Rachel Gould showed up and showed us that he was the true villain of the show, like the only villain worthy of being called a villain on the show, by stopping that kiss. I was, oh man, I was like, first you have all this Barbara stuff, and then you bring back Raish to stop the thing I've been waiting for all week.
You can't make
Somebody
Helena
on
win.
Reddit-
You must make Damien win first.
Yeah, somebody on Reddit had the theory that because he can see the future, he knew to stop that kiss because he wants Bruce to wind up with the daughter that he doesn't know that he has, according to the actor.
Yes, that obviously is that Reddit person is correct. Obviously.
Well, that would make sense. Are you okay? Are you stretching?
Nothing about this character makes sense. All right, I'm biding my time.
Let's unleash the Donovan.
Yay, go Donovan, go.
Release the Kraken
Release the Donkin.
with my many tentacles. This is pretty terrible. This episode. I watched it twice just to make sure that I wasn't imagining things worse than they were. And positives. Okay, I do like the Riddler and Lee. it really hurts when I say that name. The Riddler and Lisa plot, because it is unpredictable. I really like Corey Michael Smith's acting.
Yes.
Especially when he does the Riddler, when he does like the Frank Gorshin Riddler thing, where he's like, when I'm revealed, the lover turns into a hater. What am I? Like, he does that really well. And
that's true.
I liked Butch and Penguin kind of like up to their old tricks in this episode, and like it was, the interactions were really fun. I'm not a fan of let's make Lights on Tompkins evil because of the lulz, but Marina Baccarin kind of has that like kind of devilish glint in her eye, so she kind of makes it entertaining. And I think Josh has already said, but like the ending was effective, like Gordon arresting her. So like when I watched the second time, I was like, this really plays well. And when I like Gotham, when I like watching this show, I do kind of like these, kind of like just like the characters kind of like bouncing off each other. And that was a third, if not half, of the episode. So I can say that this episode had some stuff I liked.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry. Oh my god. Never mind. I lost it.
Okay, so that is precisely it.
I think I was going to say something about the Riddler.
Do you remember what it was?
No. I had it, and then it's like right there. When it's right there on the tip of your mind.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thought that I have about when Don's like, it hurts to call her Lee. I listened back to like a season 1 or 2 episode, and he said, "I will never call." Oh yeah, it was the first Jerome episode. He said, "I will never call her Lee."
I was so self-important back then.
Yeah,
just like I said, I would never call Barbara Babs.
Well, did they call her Babs on the show at all?
Yes.
It's always like, we gotta find Barbara, we gotta save Barbara, as though they're all on first name basis with her, as everybody is. We gotta stop Jerome. We gotta
honestly, when I hear
first...
Babs, even when it's referring to Batgirl, I think of Babs Bunny from Tiny Toons.
Babs and Buster Bunny.
Montana makes his money.
Elvira is a pain.
All right.
Is a pain.
I'm going to just fart out my emotions at this. This whole Ra's al Ghul plot for the season, as it's been revealed with his like resurrection or his zombification, has kind of exposed, I think, how bad the writing really is. Because this has to be, at least to me, and I wish it were to Josh, so he would understand, this is like the worst episode they've ever done. Yes, it has. That doesn't mean that everything else is bad, but like, I mean, there is nothing redeemable to me about the Barbara and Ra's al Ghul plot. I could have sworn that this whole "oh Barbara, you are just like me, you will carry the demon's head" thing was some sort of like overarching long game that he was playing, because it just made so little sense. So I went back to that scene that I couldn't hear before, where he was like bringing her back to life, saying, "Oh, no one understands you." Yes, no one understands me. That's just like me. You'll be the demon's head. And apparently that was all 1,000% sincere. That Ra's al Ghul, who's lived hundreds of years, has found a kindred soulmate in a nightclub owner, to his very words. Just someone who just killed her parents in an old nightclub. So he believes in her and has himself killed so she can carry on his legacy. And she instantly f***s it up by not doing anything with it and not even knowing that how the Sisters of Assassins or whatever are going to help her train the world. Like,
yes.
She's like, why did you do that? Next time, don't hold back. She's such a brat in this episode. I mean,
she's always a brat. She's never changed.
Well, she was different in the first couple of episodes, but that completely evaporated. This series.
That bothers me because,
and there's no explanation. Like, where did that Barbara go?
I
want that Barbara back.
I'm gonna plug it into this episode, but the interview with Aaron Richards that like Ben and I did in San Diego, like where she was like insistent, like she's like, it's going to be a different Barbara. She's going to be more zen, more calm, more in control. Like she's not going to be like and she is exactly as she was by the end of last season. Now, like all of that, which is why I'm hoping that like this is a turning point for her, and like she's going to be in a new direction. But when she's like, "I'll be king of God," like they'll worship me like a queen. No, like a god.
That was the other thing.
Okay, slow your roll, girl. Like
that was the other thing.
You look gorgeous. Hello.
Hey.
So, in an interview a few months ago, you mentioned that Barbara was going to be going to Transformation, where you said that you would have to read more comic books. Can you tell us what that was all about?
She was changing at the end of the last season, and we had some ideas about who she could change into, and then we decided that it would be better that she just remains herself.
Okay. Was it Harley Quinn?
No.
Oh.
No, it was a different character that we've taken elements of that character, but the version of Barbara that we have is kind of more evolved than the character that we had in mind, and the elements of that character that were a little bit less kind of worldly is kind of, I don't really want to say who it is because I'm not going to be her, but it was a little restrictive. That idea of that character was going to be too restrictive with what we wanted Barbara to be.
Is the look that we see now, is that going to be your new look on the show?
Yeah.
How are you liking your new look?
I like it, yeah, thank you. It took a bit of getting used to. I'm sure everybody knows when you do a big drastic hair change, it's always like, oh god, none of my clothes look good with this. Like, I don't know how to work it, I don't know what products to use, so there's always that. But I've been through that, 2-3 week phase, and now I'm into like knowing a bit more about how I can manage it. So yeah, I'm enjoying it.
John said that this season coming up is going to be a lot of family.
Yeah.
How do you fit into that as far as?
So our family is me, Selena, and Tabitha, and we're forming like a female family, a female group where we are kind of like a mother-father figure to her, as well as kind of older sisters and mentors. And I think that's a really nice aspect to be having, quite a new aspect in Gotham, because we haven't seen that thing of women nurturing women, because it's quite a male energy Gotham, fighting, and men running it, so it's going to be really nice to see both the rise of us in a power sense and also the inner dynamics of us bringing up a girl into being a woman.
So what has been your favorite episode of Gotham to shoot?
To watch or to shoot? My favorite was actually the final episode of the 3rd season, which is the one where me and Tabitha had that big fight and then she killed me at the end, because Jess and I really love working together and I love fighting, so it was like a chance for both of us to have a lot of stuff, a lot of really good emotional stuff between the two characters, and then a huge fight scene at the same time. So it was like I got everything in one.
Is there going to be any negative effects on your mental as with other people?
So actually it's a positive effect that it has. I haven't, it's the first time I've thought about this, but she's electrocuted and then she becomes much more calm, and I wonder if it's a little bit like electroshock therapy, which I shouldn't be like condoning because it's a terrible thing, but I wonder if maybe she's been like slightly, the crazy got like frazzled out of her. So when she comes back, she's going to be like a much more zen version of herself. She's going to be doing a lot of martial arts because Rachel Gould took her and trained her in that way. So she's going to be clearer, calmer, and with more intention.
Do we see that part? Do we see you getting trained?
No, you'll see the outcome. You'll see me being, I have been trained. You'll see one little thing where it's almost like a training battle, but it's not like training montage, the one that everyone loves. I love a training montage. Always wanted to be part of one.
So essentially, this is like your 3rd resurrection.
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of cool that the same show you had played?
Yeah. I've been really lucky to have this development in her. Like, basically play 4 different characters each year. As in a different character each of the 4 years. So it keeps it fresh for me. It keeps the character interesting and evolving, and really everyone has it. All the characters evolve so much that it's a testament to our incredible writers and showrunners and producers that they can keep making it interesting for us and also for the viewers to see these people change. And it's just like life. I mean, God, from like whatever, from 10 all the way through to 40, 50, I think just people change constantly, and you look back on who you were 10 years ago and it's like, a whole different person. So it's just reflecting what is real.
Were you warned that you'd be coming back when you got to spend it or dying?
Yeah, thankfully, yeah. It's like my biggest fear to open it, like, and then she dies.
Oh, they kill me off.
Now, the answer seems obvious, but I gotta ask, has the ship sailed on you having a little baby Batgirl with Jim?
I don't think so. We spoke about it in the panel today. I think it's still possible. I think this version of Barbara that we'll see will actually be the most surprising to Jim as a development, because it's probably pulling aspects of her from the first season and second and third, but I think he might sort of be quite taken aback by who she's become, and not necessarily in a bad way.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thanks. Bye.
Like the League of Assassins, or the League of Shadowless, whatever, the League of whatever, is all like, yeah, you're gonna have this, and then we can do all this amazing stuff. She's like, I'm gonna rule this one city.
I know.
I was like, you couldn't think bigger than that? Why do you think they're
okay? Bloodhaven too.
She is so, like impetuous and like indignant that I cannot. This show can't convince me that Rachel Gould saw shit in her. It just can't. Bruce, sure. Even in the other characters, they have a bit of a glimmer of interest. But like the character written in this episode is just, it's like she's like flat out unlikable to the average viewer. And we're supposed to buy that she's going to defeat Rachel Gould with the help of her new buddies who bullshit their way, like, oh, you fought for all of us, when I don't think she did. I mean, I know that she saved like Lila or something, like by cracking a pot over the guy's head as he ran away, but that was like once, and that was like way earlier in the episode. This whole thing, is this Barbara's fight? Barbara must do this alone. Like, I can't.
Yeah, my face.
I can't even. And this is not like, oh, I don't like Barbara, or Barbara wasn't a character in the comics. I'm not doing that. I swear to God, I'm not. This show just can't make her more than this interesting. I don't care. I don't care about where she's going to go as a character. I didn't care if she lived. I didn't. And they've ruined Ra's because apparently he did want to die. He comes back as a zombie, has superpowers, and they turn the demon's head, who was like Rachel, which was originally Rachel Gould's moniker, right? That was his persona. That's because Rachel Gould's not his real name. His name is unpronounceable. And so, like, they took his mantle and turned it into a future-telling superpower that she had, and she like out karate'd him, and like, you surprised me, but why does she surprise you if you know she has that ability? So he didn't understand that she wasn't going to follow what he did, even though he thought they were kindred spirits. He didn't predict a thing that she was going to do, even though they thought they were kindred spirits. And he gives her a superpower that tells the future that he did not see coming her using, even though he wanted it back from her, which she had to have had. Like, this does not make any sense. This is why I'm so pissed off. It's like, I can't get invested in this. I don't care about what happens. And they've taken the best Batman villain and just him with a broom and broke off the handle.
Whoa.
I mean,
and let's not forget that. Oh, hey, he told me I'm the only one who can kill him. And he targeted me for like a whole year so that I would kill him and he would be dead. And my blood brought him back. Well, I'll just stab him. I got a glowy hand.
It is like this whole. They say that like he has an interest in Barbara, he has an interest in Bruce, but they never really he doesn't explain that. Like, and like, Master, we had to bring it back because Barbara King's starting a war. A war with what? The Triads? Like, what war was that? Did I miss something? And like,
yeah, I don't know what that is either. I think they were just upset because there was a split in the. No, she's not carrying on his legacy. She needs to do her own thing. What own thing?
Yeah, like it's like sell weed on the corner.
And it is hitting me though that like this should have been Bruce's plot line actually. Like Roz should have left the League of the Shadows to Bruce. That would have actually made more sense with like what he tries to do in the comics, make Bruce's heir and stuff. Like it's hitting me as you're saying this.
You also had the League of Assassins, Society of Shadows, whichever they're going to call him, whichever iteration. They kidnap Bruce because his blood can zombie Rachel go back to life with a chant that this multicultural, multinational group say in English in Gotham City. They don't take them to like the Himalayas or wherever.
There's only so many sets.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's fair enough. But why did they?
Remember when
so the
Penguin and
body
Ivy
was
went to like
in
the Fortress
it
of
was in
Solitude
Gotham
last
City.
year?
But why, okay, here's a question. Here's a better question though. Why didn't they kill Bruce? He killed their master, apparently without their knowledge. Why didn't they gut his throat and have him do that way? It's like, okay, let's cut his hand, then like just forget about him, because I know the show needs him alive, but it's like this is why I'm not intimidated by the League of Assassins. They don't do it's the same thing with like the Court of Owls. They didn't do anything.
They probably know that Bruce is important to Roz, so they're not going to piss him off by killing Bruce.
I mean, Roz did spend a lot.
But they already
time.
disobeyed him, bringing him back to life and going against Barbara.
Yeah, so they don't want to disobey him like twice in a row.
Especially if he's going to be alive at that time.
No,
I'm just going to put it out there. I mean, if you worship somebody and then you disobey him by bringing him back, I wouldn't want to like extra make him angry by being like, oh yeah, we also killed the one guy who can kill you again.
Okay, well, answer me this. Josh went on about how he liked that Barbara and Tabitha were besties again. What has Tabitha been doing this entire season? Basically naysaying Barbara every scene. I don't want to join you. Okay, I'll join you. Okay, when are we going to do this? Why have we done that? You shouldn't be with them, or whatever. So, yeah, okay, Barbara saves her life, and I'm sure that's appreciable. But to me, it's like the last episode when like they says, "Oh, come with us so we can save Barbara from and bring back the Ra's al Ghul or like actually stop her with the demon's head." I feel that like Tabitha would like screw her. I'm getting out of the city. So this whole like allegiance that the two of them have, we've been through thick and thin for almost 3 years, and I've never seen you doubt yourself. Like you killed her last season. I don't buy their
that
friendship.
Would be the thick part, wouldn't it?
She's got a point.
She also killed her boyfriend, who she's still in love with.
But he's got an extra hand now and super strength, so we'll call that a win.
That's the thick part, dude.
No, Jan, no. This is going to happen. You know what?
That part really didn't faze me because I saw that coming. Because the moment they started working together, I was like, oh, okay, they just want to put these two back together, and I just accepted that it was going to happen eventually because that's how the writers work.
And
this woman did grow up in a death cult.
As long as you admit that it's contrived, it is what the show wants, but like there are some times where like, okay, that makes sense, or that was interesting, and then other times where like, this just happens because they need to fill out the show, and they also
that makes sense for how they write those two characters.
No,
it doesn't make sense in general. It makes sense for like how they write those two characters together, like the way the show wants them to be together all the time. Like,
actually, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they're both villains. They're not going to agree with things. They do things that don't make sense. They backstab each other, but apparently they backstab each other to help each other, and whatever. And then, like, even Bab said, "Yeah, I shot him because I was jealous."
This is not gender. Well, okay, I say that. It very well may be, and feel free to call me out if it is. But at the risk of sounding gender biased, I bought Riddler and Penguin's sort of like hell and back relationship where like they kind of went on the outs with each other, then kind of found their way back to at least respecting each other. I just bought that more understandably than I'm buying this right now because Tabitha.
Do you know why?
Probably because they've been written better.
Because they know how to write men and not women on this show. That's why. Like, the only woman I think they write well on this show, honestly, is Catwoman, and I don't understand how that works.
Well,
that's very true, yeah.
The only reason I ever got invested in Tabitha was because of her relationship with Butch, remember? I was like, I don't even know why she's still on the show. Why is she on the show for another season? And then she started a relationship with Butch, and I was like, oh, look at this. This is so cute. This is awesome. I'll kill anyone who fights this.
I fought it. I'm still alive.
So Barbara and Tabitha, it's because we've had the whole season to like kind of bring them back together. I feel like there was more water under the... I feel like more was done with Riddler and Penguin to make them hate each other, and it took a longer time for them to get back together with less apologies than Tabitha and Barbara.
Well, both pairs have situations where one killed the love of the other,
and one of them didn't stay dead.
Barbara killed Butch. Tabitha killed Barbara in revenge.
Yeah, Tabitha actually killed Babs. Like, she was straight up dead. Like, not just the lover, like, just straight up just dead. And then she's like, yeah, I think we should hang out again because I died.
Well, and Riddler killed Penguin, or he thought he did, and Penguin
No?
came back to... Yeah, and at the pier, he thought he killed Penguin that one time right after.
Oh, yeah, he shot him.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
No, he did. In the mid-season, it was like one of the
No, he didn't kill him, is what I mean.
Oh, okay. No, but for all intents and purposes, that's what he thought
Well,
he was doing.
it is similar to Tabitha electrocuting Barbara because they left that scene thinking they had just murdered the person.
Yeah.
Well, she did literally murder the person. She technically did because...
but hold on.
This is what I'm just saying. She actually killed her. Like, see, Tabitha's way more efficient than the Riddler.
Well, we know that. We know that she killed Barbara, but the effect of the scene for like both Tabitha and Riddler, they both left those scenes like convinced that they had killed the person they just tried to kill. Yeah, Penguin's still alive, but like the effect was the same for both Tabitha and Riddler, though.
Emotionally, like both people left the scene the same way. Riddler walked out of that pier thinking, "I killed Penguin because he killed Isabella." Tabitha.
Oh, you're talking about like the killer, not the killee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Tabitha left that warehouse thinking, "I killed Barbara for killing Butch."
Oh, I was talking about the person who got killed. Because they came out in two very different emotional states.
Yeah. Another weird parallel, and maybe this makes more sense in my head and it won't make sense when I say it out loud, is last season Tabitha had to choose to either like lose her hand or like save Butch's life, like lose her hand or lose Butch. And this season, Barbara had to choose lose her magic hand or lose Tabitha. So,
oh gosh, you're right. It's like poetry. It rhymes. That makes it good.
I don't think that was done on purpose, but it's like, cut off your hand or Butch dies. So with Barbara, it was like lose your magic hand or Tabitha.
Well, I brought up to you that like in our phone conversation that like it is consistent for Raish to like give me what I want or I'm going to slit this throat right here in my hand.
And we know he'll do it.
Yeah.
Tabitha is clearly, honestly, a 10-year-old boy.
I hope not. I better stop being so attracted to her actress.
It's too late. It's too late.
What do you mean it's too late?
I'm sorry.
In fairness, none of the boys he threatened were ever 10, but...
Wait, how old was Ben?
It was Ben's 11th birthday, so he was a day from being 10. And then that one kid, what was his name, Alex or something?
Alex.
He looked like he was like 14-ish or something. 14 to 16-ish.
So
but, I mean,
she's a prepubescent or teenage boy.
But in any case, though, the point is the same. Roz kills young boys and Tabitha Gallivan, apparently. Maybe that's what
every Tabitha Gallivan in the country he'll kill.
It's on his kill list.
All right, so I know we've been yelling a lot about this, but there's so much more detail we can go into. Can we actually go back and talk about like the Sisters of the League of Shadows?
No, I'm just joking.
Lila was the main one.
Yeah, she's the only one who talks.
Yeah,
you can talk.
I mean, this show. I feel that this like Gordon. I think this show feels it's a lot more progressive than it is really being. You can have this whole sisterhood, and we're going to follow you now. But it's really. I don't want to talk about this too much because it's just not my lane. But like it kind of reeks of like this white feminism conversation where it's like it's all women sticking together, but it's like the white woman leading everybody to do what she wants. And then I feel that I don't know, Jen. Do you think that that's along those lines, or is that like off track?
White feminism?
Well, just on the way that like this whole Barbara sisters thing is kind of playing out, because it's the idea of like, oh, you didn't think that a woman could lead the League of Shadows, and like, well, we're the Sisters of the League of Shadows. So it's like this idea of like female empowerment by way of what Barbara Keene wants.
It didn't feel like female empowerment when I was watching it. It felt like. I mean, it did feel like the guys were like, we'll never follow a woman. It's all like, really, guys? But I didn't see it as like female empowerment. I just saw it as like a really old school way of thinking, and then like the like old versus new sort of thing. Because there are still people who think like that, even in our great country,
Not so great,
which is supposed to be like one of the world leaders in development. Which is hilarious because a lot of other countries that aren't like they have more of a matriarchal society, and they actually run smoother than the U.S. But yeah,
Marston was right. The world should be run by women.
I won't say the world should be run by women. I'm just saying that women shouldn't be like brushed aside all the time as being lesser. Like, oh, you can't do this because, oh, you're a woman, and then this and that. That's just stupid.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that, like, it feels as though they're positioning Barbara to make this grand stand against Raish in a way that feels like it kind of it feels, I don't want to say political, but like, because it doesn't, but like, I don't know, it's like Barbara and the sisters of the League of Shadows are kind of leading against Raish and, you know, trying to do things a different way. It kind of feels like it's leaning into that in a way which feels kind of dumb.
What really bothered me was Layla, whatever, was like complaining like, you're not following his legacy, you're not unlocking this power to you. And she made this huge deal about Babs having to realize Raish's dream, and then at the end she's like, yeah, forget him. I was like, your whole life is dedicated to this man, and you just dropped it off right now? That didn't make any sense to me.
Because women change their minds. Am I right, fellas?
This isn't Vietnam a go-go.
You're right, Buzz, old buddy.
I just finished that episode. Oh my god.
I hope you liked it.
I don't know how you guys come up with that stuff. Like, my brain died about halfway, like about 20 minutes into like the first issue recap.
We've been coming up with this stuff. Those are real issues that we found.
Sure.
Don gaslit himself. He's like, I forgot that this wasn't real.
But yeah, no, it was to me, it doesn't matter male or female. If you were loyal to something, like, especially if you're talking about, like, they were trying to push Barbara into becoming the next Raish, basically, and she was falling so short. She's like, I will be worshipped as a god here in Gotham, and they're like, why are you here in Gotham? There's a whole world outside of this city. I mean,
it's trying
like,
to get her to leave the show.
Yeah, basically. And she's like, no, I have to stay here and rule this tiny part of the world. It was just so stupid. There's like nothing there that makes it of note. There's like no special place or no amazing thing. Mm-hmm. It's just Gotham. It's just Gotham.
They never get into like the architecture or, you know, sort of like the wealth of technology that because like Gotham is like, I know the comics Gotham's like, oh, it's a hellhole, but like generally it is like one of the DC Universe's like greatest cities for a reason. It's like after dark, it's all scary and dangerous, but like people, I mean, Gotham it's like a sister city to Metropolis, and like they don't get them to in the Gotham show. It's all about we must save the city, but every time they do into like, you know, the citizens of Gotham, they villainize them so badly that there's no value in the city that they've demonstrated. Certainly not by season 4.
They need to realize that it's a city of justice and a city of love.
A city of peace for every one of us.
Why won't they listen to R. Kelly?
Exactly.
We all need it. We can't live without it. Gotham City.
Oh, yeah.
He fights for family and lives for love.
Wow.
I love that commercial.
I can't deal.
Yeah, I'm done with this. I have more to bitch about, but like
that stuff would have made more sense if it was like a 90s show. But it's back before the internet existed, and everyone was like more wasn't so aware that there's more of a world out there. But now when you're just focusing on one place, like just I could rule Gotham with this hand, it's like, but why just Gotham?
Well, especially if she's like, I know my destiny now. It's like, and your destiny is to rule Gotham, which you've already tried doing. Like, how is your worldview
this is the same thing
informed
that
by
happened
this
last
picture?
season. She got too power hungry last season, and like again,
yeah, why is she so narrow-minded?
I really had high hopes after that San Diego interview where she's like, Barbara's going to be like more zen and more like, you know, and again, she even said, you know, maybe this will bring her and Jim back together. And nope.
Yeah, no, she's trolling you.
Maybe. I mean, maybe they all listen to this podcast and figure out ways to mess with us.
No, I'm pretty sure she's been asked in other things about Jim and Babs getting together. So at this point, it's been 4 years, dude. She just says it just to mess with people.
Well, and I was only asking it as a novelty question. Like, I was not expecting her to be like, oh, I'm not really not. And like Ben McKenzie had a similar answer to like another person like at the panel that they did that day. Like, oh, well, we know that they're supposed to have kids one day, and it was like, wait, wow, really? You haven't? I feel that
like if they say they're not, then the next question would be, so why is Barbara still on the show?
Yeah.
They can come up with an answer for that. It's not like they'd be cornered like Principal
because
Skinner
it's Gotham,
at a
not a comic book. Get out of my interview.
Well, it's also like, you can see in their eyes, if they can lie or not. Oh, well, Barbara has she's a very big player. What's she done? She's
killed
friends.
her parents.
Yeah, who we didn't know existed until she killed them.
No, we knew. We saw them earlier in the season, and you and Stella and I were questioning, like, why is the scene with her parents here? We said that it felt like a deleted scene because it was, like, so weird.
Oh, because she's like, hey, Mom, she went home.
She went home, and she had her own house. Like, it's... And they were like, will you be staying for the weekend? Are you still dating that policeman? And we're like, wow.
Why did they talk like that if Barbara Keene, the character, was American?
Because they're high society. They have a different tone. Like they're old money.
Why don't they sound like the Kennedys?
Well,
the Kennedys old money?
Maybe Barbara actually talks like Erin Richards, but she like faked this American accent to try and land a homeless cop.
Like Stewie Griffin or something?
Yeah, like on the recent episode of Family Guy, you find out that like Stewie's been faking his voice for the entire series because like he wants to sound more.
Here's the thing that kills me though: she's an artist, or she had a gallery. You'd think she would know more about I wish she.
They never mentioned.
Yeah, when she saw that painting, she should have just went up to it and started analyzing it immediately instead of oh my god, that's my face. Is Joey is this real? What's the carbon dating on this shit? What style is this? What year is this?
That's another thing too, though. Is that whole thing was apparently genuine. This wall, we've never been able to open it. That's also been in Gotham City for hundreds of years, but now you can, and she does. And he's like, "Oh, that painting was full of nothing." So then, what was the point of the wall? I swear to God, they made this shit up as they go along.
because of the books. The painting wasn't the main point beyond the wall. The main point was the treasure trove of books.
But he told her to read the books that apparently she didn't know was behind the wall that she didn't know about until they told her, but she didn't know that those women are going to show up in the first place.
She didn't unlock the. Yeah, remember she did say you could have left a how-to
about the demon's head. The demon's head.
He's all you'll find out.
Yeah, I rewatched that part. I didn't see the scene where he died because to see if he crumbled or not, but I was gathering clips of various events that happened this season for the season finale episode that we're doing. I'm going to do a montage of different quotes, and I saw the scene where he gives her the hand, and she's like, "What was that?" He's like, "A gift. You'll find out in time." It's when
you fight me, and we're going to be arguing on opposite sides. Now hand this bleach to Donovan Morgan Grant so he can drink this before he has to watch the episode.
I have had to make plans in my head. I'm okay, every year Don threatens to quit. This is the year that I'm thinking okay, what are my backup plans for season 5 if Don doesn't come back?
I'm on my way out with this show. I mean, this episode.
You've been on your way out for 3 seasons.
Yeah, I think he might mean it this time, but usually what'll happen is he'll get angry, then he'll mellow out towards the season finale and be like, oh, you know what? And then at Comic-Con he'll be like, oh, I have a good time making fun of homeless cops with you. Let's do another year of this. And then by the middle of the year he's like, I've made a huge mistake. What have I done?
This is exactly why I didn't want Rachel Gould in the show in the first place, because this show could never pull it off. They've never demonstrated
they have no idea they have no idea what to do with them.
Well, they straight up don't know the character. I'm calling it now. And you can compare the comic books. I read a ton of Rich comic books this week just to cover my bases and watch his Paris the Animated Series. Rachel Gould is he's not a complicated character to get right. He has a certain nobility about him. He wants to cleanse the world. This Rachel Gould is flat out evil, and he's evil with no purpose. He's mwahaha, I'm a bad guy, evil. I don't think he's ever mentioned saving the world once. And if he has, it's like, by destroying it or whatever. Like, he's not... Because, like, the character is crazy, but he's crazy in that kind of Ozymandias, I'm doing the right thing kind of way. And this one's like, oh, Ray, or Bruce, I'll make you a Dark Knight. If it doesn't kill you first, like Dr. Evil laugh. And it's like, I didn't want this guy to be on the show because I knew that this show just could not have the brainwave to just copy and paste what's been done before. They couldn't.
They didn't need to copy and paste it, but there's just like, the character is so far removed.
Like, if they're going to do something different, like for instance, like the Jerome thing and the Joker thing, how they might do something completely different than what we've seen before, so let's give them a chance to demonstrate that because they got Jerome's Joker so well. With Raish, what they're doing that is different from the comic books isn't good. It's not entertaining, and we don't like it. So
it also doesn't make any sense.
No.
Like, I understood when he was all like, yeah, Bruce, I need to groom you to be this thing. And then it switched to like, yeah, now you can kill me so I can rest in peace. And now it's like, I will make you a Dark Knight. Like, he went back to the original thing. And I'm like, if we didn't have the whole thing where he got killed.
But then I saw the season finale.
If he didn't have that whole like I need you to kill me arc in the center of this season, he would be consistent with his original idea from season 3. Or season 3 was a Court of Owls?
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have been completely consistent with season 3. But the whole like, yeah, you're the only one who can kill me, now kill me. Ha ha ha. At least, here's the thing. I was going to be upset when Bruce said, like, I have to kill him again. And then Selina's all like, I didn't want you to kill him again. I was like, oh, that made me happy. But also, like, Bruce, like, understood what he had to do.
And Barbara pulled a friggin' gun on Selina. I hated that.
It's because Barbara's stupid. It makes no goddamn sense.
That's another thing. This episode tries to pull like we're a team, the Sirens, don't you want to be together? And like Tappa's like the only one who cares about that because like Selina does what she wants and Barbara doesn't. Really,
no,
she kicks Selina out. So,
No. Selena's not like trying. Selina didn't pick sides. She's still working with them, but she's like, they're all going to get themselves killed.
Right.
So she's
and
still
quite
trying
frankly,
to work
if
with
I was
them.
Selina, I'd be ticked off because you used me to get to my boyfriend, or ex-boyfriend.
Boyfriend, let's be real.
Oh.
But still, it's like Barbara's the only one who doesn't care about the team. Selina cares about the team, and Tabitha care about the team. But Barbara just cared about herself, period. Boom. Done. So Selina's all like, we need to do this because if we just listen to Barbara, she's just going to get herself killed, and then Tabitha's going to get killed, and everything's just going to be a bad time. Yeah. And then Barbara's like, I have this glowy hand. I can stab him, even though it only works if you stab him, and he had the glowy hand before.
So the point is that like this show tries to put like the future of the Sirens as a team in jeopardy when it doesn't feel like it deserves to be together.
Yeah.
It's the way it was in the first episode where it was Tabitha and Selina and Barbara was on her own. There's been no character development over the season though.
Honestly, it should have like I said, if you took Barbara out, there would be nothing different. If you had made the Sirens actually, what is it?
A dyad, a twosome.
No, Tabitha, Catwoman, and then Ivy Pepper, it would have been a lot better.
Which Ivy Pepper, though?
The new one.
That depends on how they would write it.
It would have been a lot different. It would have been a lot different because Ivy would have had the support of Selina and Tabitha right there with her, and they would have just been tempering her.
I'll give you this. I would have preferred those three together as opposed to Barbara Keane, who's just been bipolar the whole time.
And it would make sense for Ivy to be angry considering, like, I know she's not, like, a major character, but, like, when we talked on her episode, she's been treated so badly over and over again, like she's nothing, and abused, and then, like, belittled by all sorts of men, and then, like, the only comfort she has is in the plants. So it would just make more sense for her to be angry and them just trying to calm her down a lot. Especially Selina. Selina just be like, dude, you need to chill. And then Tabitha's like, yeah, we can't do this right now. And then, like, they give her, like, more of a direction and purpose, and it would have just been amazing. And then she would have been able to come into her own, like, no, this is something I need to do for myself. sort of thing. And maybe she could have like just walked off on her own to do the bad thing, but it would have been less
egregious.
It would have just made more sense than Babs still existing on the show. Like, literally, they could just send her off anywhere and have her come back, like, a couple of seasons later or something.
I don't know.
It was all about what benefits Barbara, though. Like, the whole, like, that's why if I was Selena, I'd be ticked off. It's like, whose side are you on, Selena? It's like, first of all, like, this, we're doing all this thing for you, and now because it's inconvenient for, like, your goals, you're wanting me to, like, you know, screw over, like, my friend, my boyfriend, this guy who's, like, saved my life and had my back all these times. You
and
know,
the one who got the knife for you.
Yeah, that too. And then, like, by the way, that was the same warehouse from the Ford Focus commercials, and they've been using that warehouse since like season 1 for various stuff. Like when Barbara shoots, I don't know if it's the Thai food one, but it's the one where Falcone and everyone was tied up.
Okay.
I know when Barbara shot the tires, though, I was actually expecting like a James Bond thing where like Alfred like presses a button, like, don't worry, Master B, Mr. Fox made this thing in the tires that like reinflates them.
That's what I thought was going to happen too, and then it didn't happen.
And then Pierce Brosnan was off to the side laughing like he did in Tomorrow Never Dies.
And then he gets in and puts on his driving face.
his remote control wheeler.
Before I realized they were on their way to like meet Tabitha, I thought Bruce and Selena were just like socializing together at the beginning in the car.
Yeah, I thought he was trying to impress her. Like, check out my sweet new ride.
Hey, Selena, check out my car, as if they were like normal teenagers. Like
that would have been so cute, though.
Yeah. Also, they've been hanging out a lot these last few episodes.
Can I ask, is the quiet mode on their exhaust, does that exist in real life? Because I'm wondering if it does, if that was an advertisement for the car itself.
Ford Focus drum. I know that Priuses are like quiet because like that was like a plot point in like The Office when like Andy ran over Dwight with the Prius.
Oh, because he couldn't hear it coming.
Yeah, like they were supposed to have a fight in the parking lot, and like Dwight's win. They're like, "Where are you, Andy?" And everyone from the office is like watching through the window, and like Andy's sneaking up behind Dwight with his car, and they're like, how come you can't hear it? It's a Prius. They're really quiet. And he like runs over Dwight's like, yeah, he like runs over his foot or something.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Well, at least it's a tiny car, so it should be fine.
Well, I remember
he didn't run over him like fully, like he didn't have to go.
It
to
wasn't
the
like Meredith, where like Michael Scott just like plowed into her. That's one of my favorite moments. But like, I mean.
And everything that happened afterwards. Oh, Jan, you have to watch The Office.
Think about it.
Well, I'm just wondering because like when Alfred gave him the car, it felt, because I know the car is explicitly like it has a real world logo. I forget which car it is. It's because it's not a Ford Focus, but it's a Ford something.
You've had your chance, Ford Focus.
So I was wondering if like that car actually had that kind of thing, and if it was, it's weird seeing Batman Hawk wares. It's like, check out my sweet silent mode. I mean, if it's a thing that's only in the Gotham continuity, then that's fine. But like that was an interesting. But I agree. I thought they were kind of like cruising around, going to Sonic or something, as opposed to like Tabitha told us to meet us here. But whatever.
You mean the woman that tried to sacrifice me to her brother's death cult? Yeah, but she's changed. You're not going to be sacrificed to any death cult this time. Okay.
1 minute later.
Technically, he wasn't sacrificed.
He should have been.
Kid, they didn't kill you this time, at least. Like, I thought you were my girlfriend. I do love, like, Alfred is like, you know, like right after they were defeated, like it's like Alfred and like Bruce are like at the man. Alfred's like, what are we gonna do about Roz? Blah, 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 blah. What do you think, Master V? And he's just like looking down, not paying attention. Alfred, I can't believe Selena chose them over me. Oh, bloody hell with this.
Your voice is way too light because in this episode, Davi Mazouz is following his master, Ben McKenzie, and doing the homeless voice because he says, "Give me the knife, Barbara. You gotta give me that knife." He's doing that in this episode.
Barbara's like, for some reason, I'm very attracted to you right now.
Oh, that's disgusting.
I know you live in a mansion, but I'm imagining you homeless. I mean, but you guys heard that, right?
Oh, Selena's like, little do you know. We were homeless together for a while.
They were, yeah. That was a weird.
She trained him in homeless fighting.
No, that's good though, because he needed that. He needed that training to learn how to navigate the streets.
Right.
And also, because he lived in a mansion, he had to learn how to navigate Gotham somewhere without a GPS. And also to learn how to scale buildings and things, too.
Pick locks and get through doors and stuff.
I remember making fun of that when it happened, because it was like, dear Alfred, I've run away to be homeless with Selena. This is a good decision.
It
See
was
you
a
later.
good decision.
Back
look at him now.
That was back when the drinking game of how many times we say homeless in a podcast began, like season 2. Because that was after the Matches Malone thing.
P.S. Can you come live with us on the street so you can continue to make my bed, charge my iPod, and cook my meals?
You guys are ridiculous.
I'm trying to think if there's anything left to...
Speaking of homeless, we haven't really talked about Gordon in this episode.
Because he's not in this episode.
Yes, he was.
He was barely... He was... and when I say social justice warrior, I actually mostly agree with a lot of things that people who are called social justice warriors say. I think that phrase is thrown around too much sometimes, but... Oh, shoot, hold on.
I'm a social justice.
I just want to make sure that I wasn't accidentally sending out the
I fight injustice with my fists.
But so I say that
You say that with ironically.
Yeah, I say that in a tongue-in-cheek way, but I thought it was hilarious, that, and if the show hadn't acknowledged it, I'd be angry about it, but because the show acknowledged it, and was self-aware about it, I'm amused, one conversation with Lee, and Gordon's you bank executives are all the same.
We've looked at you for redlining, usury, and, unlawful
You're the
foreclosures.
real robbers, and she's like, what are you talking about? And Bullock's like, dude, get your head out of your pants. One conversation with the doc, and you're like,
you're with the doc?
Bullock, that was 3 years ago.
God, I would quit if this Ra's al Ghul blasphemy didn't make me quit the show. That would make me quit. I can't take this bullshit amnesia anymore from Harvey Bullock.
In fairness, he hasn't done that in 3 years, but man. That was we swear to God, listeners, there was 3 episodes in a row in season 1 where, because the writers must not have been communicating and sharing scripts with each other.
Talking to each other. They must have been an argument.
Yeah,
their own scripts.
Yeah, where 3 episodes in a row, Bullock's you and the doc dating, wow. And then, the end of an episode, Lee, I want you to be the medical examiner. Me, medical examiner, good idea. Next episode, I have a surprise for you. I joined the GCPD as the medical examiner. What?
Who told you
work here now? I remember that.
To which, at least Marina Baccarin, made the actress say, that was your idea, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Marina Baccarin made the character say.
She made the actress. She made the actress say. So Marina Baccarin made the person who played me say.
While using her mouth from with her brainwaves.
Well, I can only imagine that they must have been shooting that scene, and somebody on set said, "Okay, this is stupid. This was Gordon's idea. Can we at least have Lee say this was?" And maybe I'm jumping to conclusions that are not true.
You're fired.
Yeah, maybe that was in the script, her saying this was your idea, but
I don't know.
Point?
Why would Gordon be like that? You should get this job. I got the job. Who told you to get a job?
I want my woman at home making me bacon. We've only been dating for 1 episode.
Well, it is true considering his trippy dream sequence and his perfect home was literally Lee as a 1950s housewife. It was very disturbing.
And Barbara Keene was their elevator operator.
I forgot about that.
Take a trip. Okay.
He was fighting the war with Penguin, wasn't he? Watch out, Jim, there's mortar fire.
Come on, Buzz and Flash need us.
Someone gave him some sort of... Wasn't the Mad Hatter gave him sort of gas or something that...
Yeah, there was a Mad Hatter episode, and then Mario helps him, and Mario had a Band-Aid on his neck, and Don's like, oh, I think that Band-Aid's going to be a plot point, and I'm like, you're high. That Band-Aid will never
Mario.
be a plot
I'll never
point.
forget this. Episodes later, JCB!
You said it, I didn't. Speaking of Mario and his late his widow, Yeah, I like the scene where Lee gets arrested. I don't like what they've done to the character and that she's at this point, but the scene where she got arrested, I thought that it had a lot of great emotional weight because I felt how uncomfortable and awkward and sad and poignant this was for like both of the characters, even though Gordon, totally like messed up by not giving her Miranda rights.
I'm not surprised by that at all. What a roguish thug he is. Your rights. Actually, I don't.
To be fair, she did work at the GCPD.
She did, but like
it's illegal to not do that.
Yeah, like you give your Miranda rights.
Like it genuinely is like they'll lose their case against her if he doesn't have rights.
If that's the plot point, like writers, I know you listen to this podcast. Make that the plot point. I mean, even though the rest of the season's already filmed at this point, like make that the plot point that like the case is thrown out. It's like apparently whoever the commissioner is like, Gordon, I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to release your ex-girlfriend. What? Why? Apparently the arresting officer didn't, read
the Miranda rights.
Rights. Oh man. Yeah, you should find who that guy is and fire him. Don't worry, Chief. I'll figure out who it is and punish him. Gordon
goes on a vacation.
Vacation, all I ever wanted.
He goes golfing.
Vacation, how'd you get away? Vacation meant to be spent all
I think, if I may be so bold, let's talk about Lee in this episode, because like I think we're all kind of wondering where her head's at.
In her pants.
Yeah.
No, because the Riddler is.
The Riddler is pretty hot in this episode. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my
god. I'm very mixed on Lee this episode because on the one hand, my initial thought was, okay, this wasn't as bad as I was afraid it was going to be with that last Riddle Time episode. Okay, this isn't so bad. She's not killing guards. She's giving all the money away to the Narrows, which we figured she'd be doing. But on the other hand, too, so I was like, this isn't so bad, and I was kind of trying to justify it in my head, like Leslie Tompkins in the comics does morally ambiguous stuff too. Yeah, but then
not regularly.
Not regular. Well, I was
just
that's why I said I was trying to justify it.
Stephanie Brown die.
Yeah,
there was only one time, and it was retcon. Thank God.
She does that all the time. But then I was.
It was, yeah.
But then she let her die? Like, not let her die, but.
Yeah, it was retcon, thank God.
Well, it's out of continuity because, they changed the. Well, it could be back because of Rebirth. I don't know. But in any case. But
it was retcon before then.
I was thinking more about, Season 1 Lee and even Season 2 Lee. Yeah, and what a strong character she was and how she was, the voice of reason and, she was basically the anti, girlfriend on a primetime TV drama. She was everything that those girls were, and she wasn't oh, boyfriend, you shouldn't do this dangerous thing, she was.
She wasn't Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, she was always supportive of Jim. She was never unneedly jealous. She was they weren't keeping secrets from each other. So I was oh yeah, this. And I was listening to old episodes of the podcast, and just remembering this was a strong character. So on that point, yeah. It brought back to me that I am really disappointed with the direction that this character's in now. I don't mind her being somewhat morally ambiguous, but this was, and I am glad that she got arrested for it at the end, that she's serving her time, that she's accepting her punishment, hopefully. Cut to next episode where she's digging a tunnel to escape with the Beagle Boys or something. Oh my gosh, what if they send her to Arkham for reasons? Because everyone goes to Arkham.
Do they still have the Blackgate set?
Probably. I don't know. Roz was in some Hannibal Lecter thing, and I guess that was Blackgate because I remember when they went to see Roz, Gordon's oh yeah, I used to be here as a guard, as a prisoner. Longest home I ever had.
It was not even funny. Why am I laughing?
Because it is funny.
Yeah, but I just. I do like the fact. Oh, here we go. That's what I was thinking. I do like the fact that he said, she's like, I know you think I'm using you. He goes, I know you're using me, and I was all ha 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 ha.
You can kind of tell, yeah. She has that look in her eye, I got this bitch on my chain. She kind of gives that hint of like, she doesn't like hate Ed, but like you can kind of tell that like she's definitely like intentionally playing with his dick in the sense that like she's kind of making him do what she wants him to do.
Yeah, and he's fine with it. And he's like, I know, because you will love me. And I was like,
Oh my. You don't let me
down. Hi, Riddler. I mean, I liked you before. But, hey, boy.
Let me see. I'm going to go on fanfic.net and see how many ships have begun being written.
Go to Tumblr. There's probably like a bunch of like fan like gifs too.
It's just gonna be fanfics of the Riddler and me. That's what's gonna be all over AO3.
I do like how even though there was like Oswald Nigmaglapot like betrayal again, they're not enemies. It's like, oh, you and I are cool. We're not gonna restart our feud over this.
The first thing I see is Riddler and Martine.
Oh, what?
It's when the moment when you meet your dad's boyfriend for the first time and he dramatically rescues you from captivity and then he takes you out for ice cream.
Oh my gosh, cute. I can relate to that so much. That's happened to me so many times in my life.
That's actually really cute. I thought you meant like as a couple. I freaked out.
Oh no, I wouldn't even say that. I would just like block that on my memory.
Why are you doing this?
I've seen fan art of them eating ice cream on Twitter. Like some people like drew them actually going out for ice cream afterwards.
It's probably because of the whole who I miss, who's not going to be around for a while because Sophia.
You miss Sophia?
I miss Saz.
He'll find someone new to work for. Maybe Barbara. I don't know.
Yeah, but he's doing his own show now called Barry.
Oh,
he does have it. Yeah, I do know that he's been on his own show. Did he leave the show?
I don't know.
Well, like Gotham, he was never like an every episode person for Gotham. So even if he's on like every 2 episodes or something, he's on like all odd number episodes or whatever. Like he might be able to work around it because it's not like he's Gordon. He's not in every scene. Like I know that they figured out a way to get Johnny Galecki on like Roseanne while he's filming Big Bang Theory. Although he was only on for like 1 episode, but like they were able to film all of his scenes in like 1 day. That was a good episode.
Apparently
by the way.
Martine's actor has.
Did you say the Big Bang Theory had a good episode?
No, Roseanne.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen the Big Bang Theory in years, but I enjoyed it for a while. I just never wasn't motivated to keep up. What did you say about Martine?
Well, apparently his actor has been posting and sharing like Nick Mobblepot parent images, so he's in on the act too.
Oh yeah. I follow him on Twitter. He won an award for best child actor in a primetime drama series for playing Martine, which is weird because he was in 4 episodes. But I don't know who he was up against. If it was some kid from Modern Family who had a death scene or something. But I mean, I liked Martine, but I would have thought that the award would have gone to somebody who was in
had dialogue.
Although then again, I think it was best supporting child actor, and it was a kids award show.
You can't really say had dialogue because that's ableist.
Okay, fair
enough. Who can't
fair
actually
enough.
speak. Yeah, come on.
I thought he emoted really well without ever having to talk. Yeah.
No, I had to be serious about that because The Quiet Place just came out, and the girl on that is straight up deaf.
That was great. That was a really good movie.
To say something like the child actually needs to speak is really.
No,
really
I hear
rude.
you. I hear you. I was being glib, but I didn't mean anything by it. I hear you.
Yeah.
As someone who works with children, I'll tell you this: they don't need to speak at all. They just shut your yaps. If this was a bad episode, that would be where it would cut into. And now a word from us kids. What? Damn it! No.
How did that slip past you in editing? Well, I mean, I think that I liked Ed. I feel like he's really coming to his own as the Riddler. Where it's are you Ed? No, I'm me. And his whole riddle me this kind of stuff, and him telling Lee, I know you're using me, and you don't care for me the way I care for you, but you will. That was sexy.
Damn.
He was a G. And that line,
and that was the sound of my underwear flying across the room.
Whoa. Okay.
As he was on the stage,
Jenna Marbles. I'm
rocking
quoting
the
Jenna
mic.
Marbles.
I do think it was. I don't like the mirror thing, but I did think it was interesting how, like, oh, now Ed's in the mirror talking to Riddler. So
current Incredible
that
Hulk
was
series, which used to be Totally Awesome Hulk, starring Amadeus Cho, is doing a very similar thing right now. Because like the idea is that like Amadeus and like his Hulk persona are like kind of having a warring mind, and I'm not saying this ripped it off, but like that's what I thought of when like they kind of switched places, and it's interesting. I mean, this is one of those things where I don't love that they do this, but they're doing this, so you can't really bitch too much about it. So it's an interesting idea that they're kind of like doing that,
like Barbara and Roz.
Well, they just keep finding new
really
dimensions.
like that Ed was taunting the Riddler, so that was completely different and nice. It was a nice touch.
Well, it's weird because those two personas aren't exactly more or less
too
lethal.
Different. Yeah,
it's just that there were feelings about Lee. Otherwise, they're pretty much the same person. Just one's more.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like even like the whole when he killed Miss Kringle in season 2, and when he killed Doherty, it's like I never felt like they were Harvey Dent and Two-Face, like big bad Harv.
Yeah. But I liked Penguin being just a sleazy dude, and I liked when he says, "Oh, so what's the score? 100 million." He's like, "Oh, okay, that's fine. A piece."
Awesome. Rolls out, rolls across the floor. Oh.
This episode of Gotham was directed by the late Tex Avery.
Awesome. I mean, his hair was like full on Yu-Gi-Oh in this episode.
Yeah, his hair goes up like he's Alfalfa from the Little Rascals. Did you say a million? And Butch is like, that's almost half as much to cover, Doctor Strange's copay. Yes.
Yeah, he says, and then we're gonna find out Strange, right? And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever.
We need Obamacare, so like Doctor Strange can like treat me for free or something, like. And then Tabitha will love me. She's like standing in a wedding dress, like, Butch, it's time to get married.
But I can't. I have to get you back.
You can have me on the honeymoon. Did someone say honeymoon? No, Gordon. No more honeymoons for you.
Oh, but I wanna.
I brought my gun and everything.
You watched the latest movie in the latest Tyler Perry movie, Acrimony. There's a very similar scene to like him gunning down Mario at the end of that film. Don't watch it. It's a ridiculous.
How is that possible? That's very
Taraji P. Henson pulls a full-on Ben McKenzie in this movie.
Oh man!
In a white dress. It's ridiculous.
For my Barbara Keene essay, for my Barbara Keene essay, I was reading Dark Victory, and when like Mario Falcone shows up in that, I like looked at like the non-existent camera, like I was Jim from The Office, like, oh wow. And he's like, "Hello, Bruce Wayne. My name is Mario Falcone." And like, I kept on waiting for like Ben McKenzie to show up in the comic and kill him. But
Ben McKenzie just like dimension hops into a comic and then just shoots him.
But like, there was a scene where Sophia, Mario, and Gordon were like all together at a graveyard, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like you're already at the."
He turned into Jim while he was reading the comic. Oh my god!
It's happening again. My brain.
My mutation disease. I'm becoming.
You're becoming an actor who plays a badly written character on a television show on Fox.
So funny because you're like, I was like, oh my god, like.
You're already at the graveyard, Jim. All you have to do is shoot Mario. Like, you have one job.
Josh, this comic's been out for 20 years.
I know.
I referenced it at the beginning of the season a lot. And you're like, I thought of Mario. It's like, dude, well, he appeared in Tony Daniel's Batman run, but like, this is generally his only appearance.
I know. Do we have anything else to say about the actual episode, or are we,
I feel like we
ready
might.
for... Do we?
I mean, we might not, but like,
Did we hit all the... There were only 2 plot lines, huh? The train wreck and...
The train wreck and the bank robbery.
Do we have thoughts on Raisha's just reading the Wikipedia list of Batman's major storylines.
I do want to talk about the end. I liked that vision of No Man's Land.
I thought it was Contagion.
I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I did like that, and it made me somewhat excited. So, and there's an interview with one of the showrunners that says that next season Gotham's going to be and Jan posted this in our little group chat. People misinterpreted it, but they said rebooted, but they just mean rebooted and everything's going to change. The series is going to be a different tone. And someone suggested that it was going to be more like Walking Dead, not that they're fighting zombies, but that Gotham's going to be post-apocalyptic. So I was okay.
That is a really bold choice.
Yeah.
It'd be like Zero Year.
Right. 0 Year. Ooh, oh my God. But that only... If they do 0 Year, it's not going to be... I like the way they did it in the comics. I liked it. But I also love the Riddler, so there's that. Oh my God, I loved it so much. It'll be like Riddle time, but for the whole city.
I personally... but it was way too late in the episode for me to be tickled by any fan service. It was I'm not in the mood, Gotham. Get your hands off me.
Not tonight, honey. I have a headache.
Not tonight, Gotham.
Because there's literally I was thinking about that Graham Nolan issue of Contagion, where Batman and Gordon are taking poison out of that building, and she's in the plastic bag and stuff. Because the whole city was on fire. I thought of that, and spoilers, but Ra's was behind that. So I thought of that, but at the same time, it's you f***ed up so much by this point that I can't imagine you'd pull any of these better storylines off. I'm way too deep into what I've seen them do. Unless the writer for Jerome wrote the rest of the series from here on in, they can't save this show.
Oh. And remember that amazing thing that I said in the thing, in the what is it? In the chat. It's almost like they put the good plots in a coma when they shot Sophia in the head.
Kind of,
because remember, we're practically singing praises while she was there, and then they shot her in the head, and then after that, we were just complaining about things.
I Sophia's probably one of my favorite villains that the show has done.
That's because she made sense.
Well, and we didn't know what her ultimate endgame was for a while, and she had control. She was unpredictable. She was whiny like Barbara a few times, but
it made sense though. It made sense for her character. Her family has come into power, and then she wanted to be recognized as someone who could also be in power. And then her dad said, "Nah, you can't do that thing."
I don't think if I was ever annoyed by her like I was from Barbara. Or even
I was just mad that she and Jim slept together. But then when you found out that it was part of her way of getting revenge on his brother's death, I was okay, that is deliciously evil and sick. I'm won over by that. Even
she also just really I think she actually did like him though, and she was like, "No, I can make this work." She was more she did want to get revenge for her brother, but she also from a control standpoint, to have him there made more sense than to not, because she recognized in him the same kind of hunger that she had for power, and he acts just because he's trying to use the power to do good things in Gotham, he still wants that power. He's basically Kingpin, or he's basically the Daredevil to her Kingpin. Without the
that's
I'll
actually
never forget that issue of Daredevil where Wilson Fisk and Matt Murdock have sex.
Quiet you. That's actually a very interesting comparison because, because Matt Murdock is a severely flawed character, but that's by design. So comparing her and Gordon to Kingpin and Daredevil, that really works.
Yeah, but because he wants to he's trying to regain balance and power, and he was trying to go get Falcone because Falcone he can talk to and reason with from a business standpoint, even though he's a shitty businessman. Not Falcone.
Gordon?
Jim, yeah. And
he's a businessman.
Apparently Gordon lied his way to get onto the Forbes 500 list by faking his own publicist.
You're confusing Ben McKenzie's character that he plays on this Fox show with our president.
Yeah, I know.
For some reason, you are doing that.
That's news that came out about Trump in the last few days.
But yeah, so she recognized that in him and was like, yes, I can work with this because she's like super brilliant and beautiful and smart and amazing, and I love her and I miss her. I miss her so much. I just love how like calm she was with everything too. She's like, I have time. I have everything planned out. Everything will be fine. And then she just let it happen. She just let it roll out.
She also very nearly killed him.
It would be cool if she, which they referenced this episode, she's like, you look good for a guy that got shot 4 times.
Thanks to you. Oh, I didn't mean to save your life. Oh, well, be that as
I was just in a good mood because I just shot Sophia Falcone in the head.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, I was like diss. It's like, all right.
I was like, Lee, you do you, girl. You do you.
Whatever.
To be fair, go ahead.
It would be awesome if she woke up like Jim's about to get like promoted to commissioner or something. Like, I don't know, something big is about to happen. Like either a promotion of his, like he's about to get sworn in as president, and then like Sophia wakes up and says, and like basically like holds a press conference saying Jim Gordon brought Professor Pig into the city.
And because this is modern America, that would not have a single ounce of effect on the
Yeah, he did bring Professor Pig into the city,
and tells
but
the
we
truth.
don't want to vote for crooked, Harvey Dent or like whoever he'd be running.
Which, in fairness,
in fairness, he does become Two-Face, or like I don't know, like who would Gordon be running against? Like
probably the Penguin.
Bing bong.
Again, that guy is crooked.
I want to say, okay, so I think we're winding down. Before we go on to like Futon Critic, I want to say we were having a good time right now. This truly is a horrible episode. I don't want to let that go. I like the lead stuff, I like the Riddler stuff, but my God, like if you're a Batman fan, if you're curious and listen to this podcast, this episode is going to make you mad. Like it did me in a very real way that like I don't want to watch it anymore.
I was so mad when I saw Tabitha get her throat slit. I was like, "You're gonna kill the brown girl, seriously!" Out of all the people on the show,
all the brown girls before this season. You think Lila's going to survive?
I'm pretty sure every person that isn't like a main cast character is just going to be dead, and the majority of them, especially if it's the League of Shadows, are just going to be a bunch of dead brown people.
This must be what Brad Douglas used to feel like on Crawl Space when like everyone would be like, this issue was an F, this issue was an F, and Brad would be like, I think it was a C+, maybe a B-, and you'd all be like,
what the hell's wrong with you? Look what they did to Ra's al Ghul. Seriously. I love you, Barbara Gordon. Now give me your superpowers.
But you also have to remember there are issues like what is it called?
I brought up the resurrection of Ra's al Ghul. Yeah, like he was like a banded zombie at the beginning.
But they didn't use...
No, but I mean, like, story writing aside, there are a lot of other issues that influence me and Don's perspective on this because there's stuff that we have to live with every day that you don't.
Absolutely.
Well, and also, in addition to that, because I'm not as vocal about it this episode, but I am absolutely feeling like the insidious racism throughout the whole episode. But I mean, that's not to suggest that like the comics haven't had goofy racial cool shit before. Like this is a guy who like married Batman when he was unconscious. And in the
TV show, he went into his daughter's body. And
when you say marry Batman, you have to finish that sentence.
Okay,
marry Batman to his daughter.
Batman went into Wayne Manor saying, "I wonder where Alfred is." Alfred was like tussed up and tied up like right to the side, but he didn't look at him. He went to the gym, his home gym, and like punched the heavy bag. Sleeping gas came out, and when he woke up, Ra's al Ghul said, "I now pronounce you Batman and wife." And like Talia was in a bikini, and like, "You're married. I didn't consent to this. In our country, you don't have to. It's up to my consent." And like he threw them into a trailer and said, "Now have sex." And like that was goofy as shit.
He's not wrong.
He had Dr. Moon laser his head because he had a headache. Like Rach has done goofy shit in the past, but this is just asinine. So I just want to get that out. Like, he's not a flawless character, but this show goes beyond the pale. I just wanted to make that clear.
So before we get into Futon Critic, let me put this on.
All I'm really waiting for is for Jim to shoot himself up with the touch virus again, and then just save everything.
But now the real menace arrives, Talia, and she's going to get revenge on Jim for defeating her father by sleeping with him, and then take over the world. But it seems like she's not smart.
That's when I leave the show.
Well, I've been gone by then. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you can't fool me again. Said our great 43rd president.
Okay, Bush. Okay, W.
Mission accomplished.
Okay, so we have a comment on our last podcast episode, That's Entertainment. Doesn't mention the Little Mermaid parody that I worked so hard on, but...
Aww.
I still haven't heard it yet.
Oh, man, you really should, because, like, I also did, like, a closing parody.
Yeah, but I listen to things in order, and I just got through Vietnam a Go-Go, which was really long.
Okay, so this person's username, I don't know if you're a male or a female, so if I do the pronouns wrong, forgive me. City of Gotham says, I've been following Josh and Don since their days on Spider-Man Crawlspace. That was the podcast where... That wasn't the first podcast Don and I did, but one of the first ones we did. I wasn't going to watch Gotham because I'm more of a Marvel person than a DC person, but when I found out Don, Stella, and Josh were going to be doing a Gotham podcast, I decided to watch along so I could listen. I hope that this isn't your only look at who these characters are. Like, I hope you're not taking Gotham's word for it that this is also good.
God, no.
When you listen to certain podcasters for many years, you become almost as invested in them as you do the fictional characters they cover. As a result, I hope you'll indulge me with some questions about some behind-the-scenes stuff. All right, so we're going to get really behind the scenes here. Question number 1. I'm loving Jan on the show. So are we. She brings a sense of fun and fangirl joy that I don't normally hear from other podcasters. Some people take them... Yeah, that's true. Oh, my gosh. Have you, read this in advance, Jan, or do you know, what they're going to say about you?
Oh, no, I did.
Okay.
It just feels different when you hear it read out loud.
Some people take themselves or their sense of fandom too seriously, but not Jan. My thoughts exactly. My question is kind of personal, it is personal, but are she and Donovan still dating? They mentioned it during the call-in show last year, but their rapport the last few months seem like they're just friends. Maybe they're just good at keeping it off the air. Is it my imagination? I've been trying to figure out how to ask this for months.
It's definitely not your imagination. We're not dating anymore. We are really good friends, but I am already also seeing someone else, so...
And it's not me, so don't ask.
Could you imagine?
I love it. I've been trying to figure out how to ask this for months. They had a whiteboard of wait, sneak the
They have the red strings and newspapers on the wall.
What does it mean?
This is what we agreed to tell him, so we don't have to tell him the actual answer.
Yeah.
Well, okay, question number 2. What are the chances of getting a guest spot out of Stella? Does she still watch the show? I'd love to hear her thoughts on Barbara's current storyline.
Oh, man.
We all miss Stella, and she's welcome anytime. And her and I have been talking. We're trying I feel like this is what they say when they're trying to get a character on for the series finale of a show. It's we're negotiating with the actor's schedule. Stella is a really busy person. And she's actually taking a sabbatical from the Batman Universe comic cast because, she's taking care of a lot of stuff over the next, few months, which you can hear about on Batgirl the Oracle. She hasn't watched the show regularly since the middle of season 2. I know this answer, so I can speak for her, I guess. But, she's seen, clips that Don and I have shown her. And then, at Comic-Con, this last year, well, I think Don, you were at your Steven Universe thing, but her and Ben and I went to some taco place and we updated her on the last year of the show, and she was oh dear, dear,
sounds like her.
Oh dear. And then and I did send her, and sometimes I'll send her a clip of something crazy Barbara Keane's doing, but yeah, I don't think that we'd be able to get her on for a full episode anytime soon because of her sabbatical, but I am trying different ways of getting her presence, but we'll see. I mean, she's she's up for things as scheduled.
You put gas in her heavy bag, and when she wakes up, you now pronounce her Stella and Gotham Watcher.
I don't recall saying I did, Josh.
In this country, you only need the father's consent.
You mean America?
In this podcast, you don't need
Okay. Question number 3. We're just going down the list of supporting characters here. I enjoyed the novelty of having Ben do a few segments at the beginning of the season. I haven't heard him since the DC and DC special. Why did he stop sending stuff in? If it was because of lack of fan reaction, I'd like to go on record saying he should send more in and maybe do a full appearance one week. I think he's maybe a year or two away from doing a full appearance. It's let me get him like to sit still long enough for those segments.
Yeah, but also I think we also record like way past his bedtime.
And as for where he's been, before I answer the rest, because there's like 5 questions in this like one thing, in this single question. He's in 6th grade, so he's leading a busy life as a 6th grader. He's like volunteering at his church. He's getting ready to do like a mission trip, just like Stella is.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit you up to see if you'll donate to it after the show's done. He's just busy doing kid stuff, and he'll probably do some stuff towards the end of the season if time permits. But I generally don't like go after him too much for those because I want him to live his life away from the internet. So when he's able to and time permits,
how could you involve a child into this life?
Okay. I do get confused sometimes when you refer to him in passing because I'm never sure if you mean the child or Ben McKenzie. Can you figure out a way to distinguish them? Well, here's how you distinguish them. One of them is a, hyperactive person, can never focus, has like the the attention span and mentality of a child, and the other is the kid that we take to the conventions with us.
Yeah, that's very helpful.
Why? Zink!
He's not Winnie the Pooh. Usually if I guess it would just be in whatever context of the sentence it is. If we're talking about a crazy guy that steals luggage, it's the actor from Gotham. In fact, usually if it's something crazy, it's the actor from Gotham. Just assume that way. Or get confused. Number 4. I've heard teases about plans for the 100th episode. Can you give any more information? No! Or yes. There is a plan, the thing is, one thing that I don't like when podcasts do is when they announce that they're going to do something, unless, they're sure they're going to do it. I have an idea of what I want to do for the 100th episode with Don and Jan, but that is dependent upon arrangements that need to be made through a third party. And while the third party is open to those arrangements and has said in the past that they will do those arrangements, until all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, I don't want to make an announcement in case that doesn't happen. Which basically means that if it doesn't happen, I'm going to have to come up with a whole new plan for our 100th episode.
It'll just be like an actual YouTube video of us, reenacting scenes from Gotham.
Like we do on the podcast.
Except we'll be in full costume.
Top 10 Gotham moments. And the number 1 Gotham moment is, by unanimous vote, Gordon shooting Mario.
And you'll be dressed as Gordon. And then Don will be Mario. And then I'll be Lee. And we'll be on a dock somewhere.
Ben McKenzie, come up and accept your award for best. Oh, thank you. And we have a surprise for you. The actor who played Mario. What?
I saw that coming a mile away.
Mario didn't, apparently. This number 5. The song parodies have been great. Has Dustin ever rejected any of them for legal or quality reasons? Yes, we had an old McDonald had a farm one that Dustin said, you can't use that, you'll get sued. And we had a whole the King and I parody that was 60 minutes long, and he was like, you realize that's longer than the actual episode, don't use that. No, I'm just joking. Dustin gives us a very, 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 very loose leash, which he probably regrets. Which he probably regrets sometimes, but no, none of the parodies have ever been rejected. The only thing that he said at the beginning of the season was to stop using the R. Kelly song, and that was for legitimate copyright reasons. Parodies are protected under fair use, and because we don't charge for this podcast, unless Don and Jan are making money and I don't know about it, we can't really get in trouble for that.
Shut up!
She's been saying with this way too long.
If you can see my eyes right now, they just got all big and teary. She said the thing. Which brings us to the last question. Another Jan, the 6th and final question. This is reminding me of Crawl Space when people would send long questions. Another Jan question. Will she be joining you guys at any conventions? Jan.
Put her on the spot.
I don't know. That depends on how how much time I can get off or how many days I can switch out, because my job is really weird about vacation. And also it used to be I could just say, hey, I'm not going to be here these few days. Anybody want to work for me? But now they're making it you have to have like an equivalent exchange. So I have to see if anyone would actually cover those days for me, to see if I could actually go to a convention. Because if we do the thing that Josh wants to do, I might be using up most of my vacation time for that.
Mm-hmm. And that would be...
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that would be our plan for the 100th episode, the thing that I want to do, which would require... That's your clue, City of Gotham listener and every other listener. It would require Jan to take off from work.
And, film scenes, our favorite scenes from Gotham.
Why?
It's just a compilation of everybody getting shot in the head.
JCPD, JCPD, JCPD. There's one that Dustin rejected, the Let It Go parody of just going GCPD. JCPD, GCPD, gonna blow your head to the floor. GCPD. Okay.
Josh, you've been drinking too much.
Sometimes you do things, and I'm just like, Josh, though.
Okay, so next week's episode, actually, it's we're on a 1 week break, so there's a skip week, and then after when we come back, the episode is called That Old Corpse.
Oh yeah,
let me watch the promo.
Okay, I'll read the thing first, and then watch the promo. So, chaos erupts at the JCPD, sending Gordon on a wild goose chase. Where's that son of a bitch goose? For the culprit behind the mass takeover. Meanwhile, a friend of Bruce's becomes paranoid, I'm guessing that's Jeremiah, resulting in rash and destructive behavior in the all-new The Dark Knight, That Old Corpse. Guest cast list is Cameron Monaghan, as it says Jerome, but it's supposed to be Jeremiah, as Jerome Valeska, Kelsey Griffin, as Detective Harper, hooray! And Christian Alexander Razakis as Jongler.
As who?
Jongler, that classic character that we all know and love.
Oh, finally. Okay. Hooray. By the way, nowhere does it say Harley Quinn in there, so just keep that in mind when you watch the promo. All right, so you watched it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me switch to earpiece. Anything else? Yeah, they did say that they weren't going... They didn't say that he wasn't the Joker, just that they weren't going to call him the Joker. But, I mean, he's the Joker. Unless, I don't know, like, surprise, we make Butch the Joker because he's bleached skin. So Reddit is all like, oh my gosh, that's Harley Quinn at the end.
Of course they are, because it's Reddit.
I don't know why we're so obsessed with Harley, though. It doesn't make sense to me.
When Harley actually shows up in, like, Season 7, they're going to be like, that's not Harley, Butch is Harley, or, like, or Selena's twin sister, Belina is Harley, or something.
Belina?
They couldn't come up with a better name. Like, you have a twin sister, Selena. So it looks like Jeremiah is going to do the whole Jack Nicholson thing of like disguising his face, like so he looks like people when he's not being the Joker.
That looks good to me.
Yeah. I don't really have too much to say about that promo. Just we're in the final 3 right now. Like we are. We're almost done with season 4, folks. So it's all about Jeremiah and No Man's Land, and Barber King Ninja's coming up.
Oh, God. It would have been fine if you didn't mention that last part.
I have a feeling that like I'm reaching the end of Gandalf the Grey's journey.
You're going to come back as Gandalf the White?
I have returned, Josh and Jen, until my task is complete. No.
He's going to be like Barber Keane at the beginning of this season. He's like, I'm calmer now. I'm zen. And then like by the end of like season 5, he's going to be like, I hate the show as much as I did before. My character is notable.
What?
So until next time, this is Josh.
This is Don.
And this is Jan.
And you've been listening to the Gotham Chronicle podcast.
GCPD! You know your rights.
Who does Lee think she is? That girl has tangled with the wrong homeless cop. No one does that to Gordon. Oh! Why are you saying your name like that? Traitor! Teaming with Nigma, I'm humiliated. It's more than I can bear. Let's get some beer? What for? It won't help. I'm disgraced. Who, you? Never. Gordon, you've got to pull yourself together. Gosh, it disturbs me to see you, Gordon, looking so sad and alone. Every cop here'd love to be you, Gordon, even though you have no home. There's no cop in town as reviled as you. You're everyone's favorite man. Everyone's afraid to anger you, and it's because you shot Galavan. No one kicks like Gordon, no one sick as Gordon, no one brings a honeymoon picnic like Gordon, for there's no captain in town half as violent, perfect, a pure paragon. You make all the crooks go silent when you suit up and strap your gun on. No one stoked like Gordon, a showboat like Gordon. No one's got a rough sound in their throat like Gordon. As a vocalist, yes, I'm excruciating. My, what a guy that Gordon. Give 5 hurrahs, give 12 him-hims. Gordon is the best and the rest are all trip. No one thrills like Gordon, gives chills like Gordon. In a shooting match, nobody kills like Gordon. For there's no one as handsome and studly. As you see, I've got bullets to spare. Not a bit of his wussy or wimply. Bruce said one day my nose would have hair. No one hits like Gordon, matches wits like Gordon. In a shooting match, nobody shoots like Gordon. I'm especially good at discharging. Blam! 10 points for Gordon. When I was a cadet, I shot 4 dozen men every morning to impress the Sarge. Now that I'm captain, I shoot Lee's husband, and she can't complain cause I am in charge. No one yells like Gordon, grows and sells like Gordon, then goes tromping around wearing bells like Gordon. I don't have a home for decorating. Our homeless cop, Gordon. GCPD, help me, please! Tabitha, please, I need your help! He's gonna kill her! He's come back and he's gonna kill her! Who? Barbara! We have to go! We don't have a minute to lose! Well, slow down, Tabitha. Who's going after Barbara? A zombie! A zombie ninja! Is it a ninja zombie? Multiple centuries old? Hundreds! With a magic glowing hand? Yes! How'd you know? Will you help me? Alright, Tabitha. We'll help you out. Oh, you will! Thank you! Crazy old Tabitha. She's always good for a laugh. Crazy old Tabitha. Crazy old Tabitha. Bullock, I'm afraid I've been thinking. A dangerous pest, I know. But that siren owns some property, and her safety is only so-so. Now the wheels in my head have been turning since I looked at that crazy woman. See, I promised myself that I'd get a home, and right now I'm evolving a plan. No one plots like Gordon, takes cheap shots like Gordon, plans to steal a criminal's property like Gordon. So his housewarming we soon will be celebrating. My, what a guy, Gordon!
Keane's it then. No sense at all.
Barbara Keane's it.
Every time something makes absolutely no sense in the continuity of like actual existence, I'll refer to it as Barbara Keane.
Yeah, I got my crowbar on loan from the Joker, so are we ready to review this?
Yeah, I started the Barbara Keane research again that I did in 2014 for an article for Dustin, and it's 80% complete. I still haven't found the comic where she meets Ra's al Ghul yet. I'm waiting for that one.
How fucking strange! You would have thought as though that would have never happened.
That's surely a storyline from the show.
I mean, clearly they pull this shit from the source material.
Yeah, as we all know, that the comics are every bit as bad as this show, and they've always had. We don't like the comics.
What was the name of this episode?
Bullshit. That's what it's called. I'm so upset.
Everything that could go wrong in how we filmed it.
I wonder what you guys thought about the episode.
That was funny.
Seriously, what was it called? I need to know before we start.
Moving the furniture down the road or some irresponsible crap that doesn't make any sense. Okay, I'm going on Futon Critic. Let's see. Futon Critic, Gotham, Seeking True Green Applause, My 3 Series, Midway Bretchway, That's Entertainment, Our Deaths and Beyond.
Our Deaths? Our Deaths and Beyond?
2 Hour Deaths. 2 Hour Deaths and Beyond.
2 Hour Deaths, okay, Buzz Lightyear. Yeah, okay. They've had more nonsensical titles than that. Okay, 2 Hour Deaths and Beyond. Alright.
It's called Foxy Boxing. On Fox.
For tonight on Fox, Foxy Boxing.
And then Lucius Fox shows up.
Oh yeah!
Starring Lucius Fox.
Well, okay, hold on. So tonight on Fox, Foxy Boxing, hosted by Lucius Fox.
Who Edward calls Foxy.
Exactly.
And now our theme song, What Does the Fox Say?
God. What does the fox say?
If we ever have a Lucius-centric episode again, that has to be our parody.
That's a big if from this season.
What does the fox say? Fascinating.
A giant tree is growing out of this person's, belly button. This is quite unusual.
And then he turns into Professor Strange stuff.
I can't hear the word Kraken without cracking up because, of...
Cracking, I get it.
No, one of the kids, he told me this. I know Donovan's ready to go. I'll just tell us 15 seconds. So, one of the kids was telling me a story about Jesus once. He was 9 years old, so he should have known better. He was telling me the story of Jesus. He's well, first Jesus was alive, and they didn't believe he was Jesus, so they killed him. Then they came back, and he said, "I really am Jesus," but they finally believed him. But then they sacrificed him to a Kraken, and he said us with such a straight face.
What church did this kid go to?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was that's not how the story goes. But he's it's bedtime, and he's bedtime down under the
Church of Davy Jones's locker.
And I'm the fuck?
He just stared at this child what?
The Bible needs more tentacles. I've always said.
No, I said that the bread was my body, not my actual body.
In the sea or something. I forget where. I could be wrong. Yes, but the Bible does talk about dragons and stuff,
Which part of that is it?
Revelations.
Ah, yes, of course. But of course, if only we had. All right, never mind. Yeah, this
Donovan.
Jesus got sacrificed to Christ.
Yeah, no, that was
You look his face and say you're a precious child.
Now go to your room and think about what you just said.
He's the kid.
Oh. Well, those chemicals got to his brain. Look what you've done.
that was before then.
Oh, okay.
He was 9 when he told me that story.
That was bring him on to San Diego next time.
That was the night that that you guys were recording the X-Men comic book film review. I was like, and I couldn't make it because like his mom, something happened with his mom, so I had to like stay and put this kid to bed. And that was when he told me the Kraken story.
Oh man.
Okay, Don, go.
I think Butch says this episode, I gotta find a way to get Tabby back. And like, it's like, meanwhile, Tabitha's like naked under his covers. Butch, come to bed. You can have me back. I wish I could, Tabby, but I must find a way to win you back and win your heart back. No, you can have my heart, you know. I'm naked in your bed. Let's make love. But first I must find Hugo Strange. Then I'll be
so you can join us.
Then I'll be the man that you love. Okay.
I mean, let's be real.
You are the
I
man.
mean, if Hugo Strange wants to bone,
Yeah.
or the lulz.
I'll admit, this invitation was one that caught me by surprise, but
I don't know where
I'm
this is
willing
going.
to see what... Get out! Okay. Are you sure, though? Is this like a robot? Gotta get the fuck out of my mouth!
I'll just
Body's like, I told you it was a bad idea.
I'll just take some
Aren't
notes.
you dead? I've been dead inside since I finished med school and got this internship with you.